Hey, it's Parker, and you're listening to the Unsolved Crime Podcast, your favorite weekly content devoted to all things crime, mystery, and film. Thank you for taking some time to tune in. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on all social media channels so you don't miss a thing. Let's listen to today's episode. Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the 15th episode of the Unsolved Crime Podcast. Maybe you're tuning in on Spotify, YouTube, just whatever you're on. We just welcome you and thank you for joining today. On today's episode, we're going to be answering the question that we got so many emails about. Like, my inbox was flooded. How does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? Now, before I answer the question, let me just tell you about my film if you haven't seen it. It's called Critical Call: The Interrogation, and it follows two teenagers who got taken into an interrogation room as prime suspects in a school bomb threat investigation. In my film, the conventions were used and subverted. The three genres in my movie, it was a police procedural, crime, and a mystery film. So we're going to go over the first part of the question now. How does your product use or challenge conventions? So let me tell you all about how our product uses the genre conventions. Our credits and logos are a great example of this. Our second logo shows a man dressed in a suit with handcuffs on, walking into a prison cell as the door shuts behind him. The name of the company, Hidden Truth Films, then flashes on screen. When the logo plays, the viewer already knows they are watching a police procedural, crime, and mystery movie. The black and white color scheme, along with a prison and a prisoner, sets up the genres. Media theorist Steve Neal would observe that all of this fits the genre conventions and sets up the audience expectations for these genres. Our credits also use the genre conventions. Our credits show an investigation room with empty chairs. The dark atmosphere with dim lighting fits the mystery and crime genre conventions and then set up the audience for this type of film. The viewers are also used to this high suspense interrogation during the film. Like in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, my film got inspiration from, and that's just what we tried to mimic. Even though my film uses the genre conventions, it also challenged them. So in our film, you never ever see the interrogator, and that is not a normal convention for these genres. Because usually the detective and the investigator is one of the main characters. Like in the show Law and Order, the NYPD homicide detectives are the main characters. And also, if you can notice, the POV of the camera is from the investigator. And you can see that when he slides the phone towards John. Or was it Quandre? I'm not sure. But he slides him the phone and you can see that it's from the detective. Usually in these interrogation scenes, it's either an over-the-shoulder shot or a shot reverse shot of the conversation. So this challenges the genre conventions and thwarts the audience's expectations of what had already been set up. So now that we are done with the first part of the question, we have a little word from our sponsor. So this episode is brought to you by Birdie. As true crime listeners, we know the importance of being prepared. Birdie is a personal safe alarm designed to be stylish and easy to use. If you guys want to check it out, the link is in the description. And lucky for you guys, first-time users get a 25% code. Wow. Just use Critical Call 25, no spaces, Critical Call capital C and Critical and capital C and Call 25, no spaces. So thank you to Birdie for sponsoring this episode. Now, I know you guys are having so much fun listening to me discuss the first part of the question, so now I'll get back to it. Let's go to the second part. How does my product represent social groups or issues? So my film represents social groups through two teenage boys, John and Quandre, the main characters. Before I get too far into that, have you guys heard of Judith Butler's theory? No? Yes? Maybe so? Well, I don't have a live chat, so let me educate you guys. She says gender is not something fixed or natural. Instead, she explains that gender is socially created through actions, behaviors, and repeated performances. In other words, we do gender rather than we simply are gender. So in my film, these two young men try to do something. They try to be something they're not. They try to act like tough men, stoic, fearless, and emotionally controlled. But as the interrogation continues, that performance begins to fall apart. Judith Butler's ideas start to come to life as they slowly break under pressure and begin turning against each other. Their typical hard gangster demeanor is disrupted, revealing that the way they perform masculinity is shaped by what society expects from them. Another social factor that influences behavior is school. For many teenagers, school is one of the first places where ideas about masculinity, status, and reputation are formed. In school environments, boys can feel pressure from peers to appear tough, fearless, or dominant in order to avoid being seen as weak. This pressure can push teenagers towards risky behavior or criminal activity as a way to gain respect and recognition among their peers. My film also reflects stereotypical police behavior during the interrogations. The detectives use intimidation, psychological pressure, and a confrontational tone in order to break the suspects and force them to confess. This represents the common stereotype of police officers and crime media as aggressive authority figures who rely on pressure and manipulation during questioning. Their approach contrasts with the boys' attempts appear to be strong, further exposing the fragile performance of masculinity. So most teen crime explores toxic and pressured masculinity, where teens feel that they must constantly prove that they are tough and never weak. They often believe this is one of the only ways to gain respect into the community, at school, or among their friends. This is a real social issue. Many young boys grow up feeling like they must prove they are men. So overall, my film shows that masculinity can function as kind of a social contract. As Judith Butler suggests, gender is performed based on social expectation. When boys are denied healthy ways to form their identity and express vulnerability, crime and violence begin to fill that gap. So alright guys, I'm done answering the question. That's it for this week's episode. And I know you guys are so sad to see me go, but you can always tune into next week. So make sure you turn on notifications so you know when we air. And don't forget to share this podcast with a friend. I love all you guys, and I can't wait to see you and tell you all the other crime stories you have next week. Peace.